Hello students, today we are going to talk about a literary term which is lyric. Lyric is a type of poetry which is marked by emotion, melody, imagination and a unified effect. Melody means music. It means that lyric poetry is essentially a kind of musical poetry or which can be sung in the modern form of a song. And in informal English, lyrics are the words of a song. Originally, lyric poetry was sung to the accompaniment of a lyre. Lyre, L-Y-R-E, was a musical instrument in ancient Greece, which was just like a flute. It was not exactly a flute, but it was like a flute, and lyrics were sung on the accompaniment of this musical instrument. Today, the term encompasses poetry in which the poet expresses personal thoughts or feelings as opposed to epic or dramatic poetry. Epic or dramatic poetry is different, and lyric is different in the sense that lyric has essentially some kind of musical quality and which is just like a song. On the other hand, epic or dramatic poetry is very lengthy as far as its form and its scope of a dramatic poetry or epic poetry is concerned. And on the other hand, lyric poetry is almost personal in nature, although it can be written on any subject, but it is usually personal, and it is an expression of personal feelings, thoughts and emotions, while epic or dramatic poetry is about external, outside circumstances and events, and they can be objective. So in English literature, the history of the lyric goes back to the earliest epic, Beowulf. Beowulf was an ancient English epic which contains passages with lyric qualities. In that poem, in that lengthy poem, there are some passages of lyrical quality, of musical quality. And then the Anglo-Saxon poem Deor's Lament is essentially lyric in purpose. Before 1400, Geoffrey Chaucer had written a number of lyrics, many modeled on French forms. He took French forms of lyrics as his model, and he wrote a number of poems, he wrote a number of lyrics. And then coming to Elizabethan England, that is in the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, which was from 1558 to 1603, the lyric was further developed by such poets as Ben Jonson and Robert Herrick, as well as by Philip Sidney, Edmund Spenser and William Shakespeare. These were also the poets who wrote a number of lyrics. Then during the Romantic movement, that is in 1798, at the end of the 18th century, William Wordsworth, William Blake, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Percy Bysshe Shelley and John Keats, these romantic poets were those poets who wrote powerful lyrical poetry. And then throughout the 19th century, such major poets as Lord Alfred Tennyson, Robert Browning and A.C. Swinburne, these were also the poets who continued to write in the lyric form. They also wrote extensively lyric poetry. So lyric, it means that is a kind of a short poem which expresses the personal mood, feeling or meditation of a single speaker. Now this single speaker, it is not necessary that the single speaker is the poet himself or herself. The single speaker may be an invented character. And as far as the presence of lyric in poetry is concerned, it is very wide and vast, and many kinds of poems, for example, dirge, hymn, sonnet, ode, elegy, haiku, and more personal kinds of hymn. They are all written in lyrical form. They are all lyrics. So I hope you got the point what is a lyric, and I sum it up again in few lines that it is a song like it is a kind of poem which has a song like quality, and which is fairly short, which can be sung to the accompaniment of a music. And earlier in Greek times it was sung to the accompaniment of lyre. And most of the poems like dirge, hymn, sonnet, ode, elegy, haiku, these most of the English poetry, most of the English poems have been written in lyric form. And lyrical poetry is essentially different from epic or dramatic poetry. So I hope you got the point. Thank you for listening.